What is going on, everyone? My name is Jimmy Adin. This is Monotone Moment number one. So, I would got a couple prompts today that I'm going to start out with. I would talk about myself for just to get to know me, I guess, but today I just want to talk about what's been going on that I've seen so far. I want to spread good news, spread positivity. One of the things you can see I got on is Anthony Kim. So Anthony Kim, he is a golfer. He plays on Live Tour. Um, he recently won his match on the Live Tour. Can't remember what it is called, but so yeah, this is Anthony Kim. He basically wanted, or he did go on the PGA Tour originally. Um, he left, I think, in 2012. He had I want to say, an ACL injury, and he got into some addicted related substances and basically took 12 years off the tour, joined the Live Tour, and he just, recently won his tournament. I think it was in Adelaide, is what it was called, on the Live Tour. He beat Bryson and John Rahm, and he's had a long road to recovery. Um, he, had some surgeries throughout the years. This video, you can see him celebrating, and I think it's pretty cool. I'm a relatively new to the golf scene, probably 5 years, probably how long I've been playing golf and watching golf. And um, I just looking back at his old videos of him at the Ryder Cup, this guy was a dog, an absolute dog. And he's talked a lot about after he won the Adelaide, um, about his road to recovery and where he's at. And it kind of stuck out to me because, this is him now. Obviously, he does not look the same as he did before. Um, and basically, what I want to get across is what he's been talking about is that he talks a lot about when his daughter was born, he wanted to basically prove to his daughter that he wasn't a loser. Um, and a lot of his road to recovery was from his daughter being born. And I think just his message going on from when he won, I remember when he first kind of got onto the scene, I was like, oh, Anthony Kim's back. Kind of did a little research on him, like, oh, this is, was that guy, is Onwell, something that came back on and played at the Masters last year, and he shot well over par. Didn't make the cut, but he was in a prison for the past, I think, 5 years. And I think the story about Anthony Kim is so special because one thing that, you know, got him going was becoming a dad. I'm not a dad myself. 29 years old, no kids, and it's, you know, a great story. Like, you could make a movie about this guy at this point, and I think, you know, one thing about him talking about being a dad is having purpose in life, and a lot of people don't have that. They can't find their purpose. And I think it's important to look at stories like his and think, you know, what is my purpose? I took till I was probably 25 to find my purpose in life. And my purposes came a lot from rediscovering myself within Christ and reading the Bible and practicing things that I was taught growing up that I didn't follow. I mean, like Anthony Kim, I can't compare to him, but I have a cloudy past, and you know, it's important that when it comes to finding a purpose in life, it's finding your purpose and building yourself for that purpose. It won't happen overnight. It won't happen in a month from now, but if you just keep training your mind to fulfill that purpose, have good direction, follow a path, and have a good mentality about it. Um, you know, I was thinking, it's funny, this is my first episode, and I was thinking of all the things I was going to say today, and it's all vanished from my head. But I think finding a purpose in life is a big thing to grow, especially as an adult. Um, I can't speak for the women out there, but I can speak for some of the men or the male population, and the fact that a lot of us go through life blind, go through foggy, and really just aren't following a path, and you're going out not knowing what you're doing, trying to find a purpose, and maybe molding yourself into something good and something bad. I think there's quite a few people out there that can maybe relate to the fact that, you know, you wake up every day, go to the job that you might hate, come back home to a place that you don't feel at home at. And I think a lot of it to start out is a mentality. Um, I look up to my dad in a lot of ways, is that when he had my brother and I, that he kind of just buckled down and got a good job, got good benefits, and worked as hard as he could to be able to provide for us, because his life wasn't, he wasn't living his life just for him anymore. He was a provider for 2 kids and a wife. And that led to a lot of, not hostility in the house, but, maybe some tension that he was doing everything he could during hard times to basically make sure that we had clothes on our back, we could go play sports, we could, you know, have a roof over our head, heat in the house, and we didn't have to move. And it's funny, as growing up, I kind of resented my parents in a lot of ways, thinking that they didn't understand me. And now, as an adult, I understand that they gave up a lot for me and my brother, and I wasn't grateful at the time. And it took me 20 something years to figure that out and become grateful, and I can't thank them enough every day. And on the responsibility part, right, is once you become selfless and start realizing that your life isn't, you're not living your life for you anymore. Um, it's kind of interesting is, I live most of my life to appease my family and my friends. And I like to think I'm a guy that would, you know, give the shirt off my back for them. And I would completely. And my buddy told me the other days, or, a while ago, that I'm a gift giver. I love buying my friends gifts, and I enjoy watching them. I usually buy gifts that they'll use, um, and that's huge. I mean, I want to be there for my friends. I try to keep in contact with them as much as possible now that we're older and they have kids, they move away, and I'm single. I want to make myself available for them if they ever need anything, if they need to call me about anything. Um, and I just think it's very important for especially men this day and age to find purpose, whether it's finding it from the word of the Lord, the way I did. I'm not a perfect Christian or, religious man by any means. And I think, you know, being thinking myself as being alone for this long probably hasn't been good for me because you don't get a lot of exposure to meeting new people. I mean, part of my thing is that I don't drink or smoke. So for me, going out to like bars or going to clubs just doesn't exist because I think the main priority of those places involve those two things. And I'm lucky that I can rely on myself, rely on my friends to help me out and be there for me as well. Um, and on the other flip side of Anthony Kim, you have a guy like Scotty Scheffler, who is a father himself, and I think he's pretty outspoken on the fact that he loves golf. I can relate to golf because I play golf, not really great at it. Um, he's a brother in Christ as well, and I think he takes parenting very important and wants to basically bring a better part of the golf world to regular people. Um, I mean, I'm sure if you watch golf, you've seen his son on the green, Bennett, Um, and it's funny about Scotty is he's very humble and composed for the most part. And recently he's been, I swear, like day one, he's trying to give the whole field a 10 shot lead, and then he comes back and gets within the top five or top 10. And I'm just waiting for him to pull like a WWE heel move where he just turns into Macho Man Randy Savage and he's like, I got you for 10 minutes or 72 holes of playtime. And I think that'd be funny if he just took on a character and, you know, basically showed his skills. I mean, for the footwork and everything he has, you wouldn't expect him to be the number one player in the world. And aside from me just talking about golf, uh, you know, he's another part of. He really rides the train of dedication, responsibility. Um, you know, he really is. I don't know. He knows how to probably separate his golf life and his family life, and I think what's good is he takes his family over golf because he knows golf isn't forever, and his family is. Um, and to bring it back to Anthony Kim is his reinvention of himself. He had a dark, 12 years, 10 years, and he came back on the other, or came out on the other side basically way better. He's got a better outlook on life, and that mentality is what people need to kind of grasp. I think a lot in life is positivity. Make the next day better than today, or wake up and be thankful, be gracious that you have all this stuff going for you. um, so outside of Anthony Kim, I want to promote an unofficial sponsor, um, and that is Vivo Barefoot. If you haven't heard of them, they are a shoe brand, and I've been wearing them for the better part of probably 10 years, 11 years. And for the past 5 years, I've pretty much solely been wearing their shoes. And it's funny is going back to trying different kinds of shoes, Nikes, Vans, even my dancing boots is what I call them. And my feet don't like it. My body doesn't like it. My body just wants to be, connected to the ground. You feel more stable, more agile, even though I'm not a very agile guy. Um, but highly recommend their shoes. They are a little expensive. I wish they could send me free pairs all the time, and I could tell them to make a golf shoe, even though it'd be impossible because there's literally no sole on those shoes. Um, but I recommend them to anyone that wants to try them. It is life changing in a good way, I think. Um, there's a little pain period for probably 6 months if you solely wear them, that your feet hurt, your ankles hurt, your knees hurt probably. And it's just because your body's basically getting rid of the, what would you call it? It's been so used to wearing different types of shoes with foam support or whatever you want to call it in the shoes that it's reshaping your foot into a more natural position. Um, so yeah, just an unofficial sponsor. Wanted to give them a shout out. And so for my next prompt, I'd like to talk about the men's and women's hockey team in the Olympics this year, or the Winter Olympics this year. Great that they won. Great that they beat Canada. Big USA guy, and I don't know much about hockey. I don't watch it. I didn't watch any of the games, but it's good to hear that, in a non-American sport, we won. And not even that, we, got it over in overtime. And that's another thing is I played team sports for a long time, and it's good that you can rely on your teammates to be able to pick you up and all that stuff. And be able to just have that dog mentality and pull out the win. My next prompt is going to be a gentleman by the name of Lee Markham. You've maybe seen him on TikTok or Reels recently. He's been kind of blowing up. But this gentleman is a combat veteran that is, I think, a fitness trainer, I think is what his job is. Fitness enthusiast. He's under Malibu Fit Max. Just great positivity from this guy and good energy. Some of the history on him is that he's a combat vet, and apparently an IED blew up in his face, and first couple days people were kind of filling his comments with a lot of negative energy because of how he looks. But there really couldn't be a better guy out there, promoting fitness. And, these are the guys that we need to, prop up, I think, because, he's a positive guy, wants to spread positivity in the world. And, fitness influencers, I see them all the time. They want to criticize each other for giving certain advice. And, I don't think any advice is bad advice unless it's to harm someone. So, but yeah, this guy's great guy. I think I had more to say on him, but I really can't think of anything. But outside of that, I want to promote a band or a song, I guess, that I recently found that I think is a pretty good song. It's called Sunday Knockout by Yard Sale. I don't know if they have a Instagram. Yeah, they do. Okay, it's under Yard Sale Band. Great song. Highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for new music. I'm always looking for new music. Don't really have a particular taste. But yeah, no, good rhythm, good vocals, whatever you want to say. Closest band I can think of, compare them to is a band that I can't think of off the top of my head. That's how reliable I am. But a artist that I wanted to shout out was Cameron Marlowe. Good artist, great music, great singer. Definitely check him out. He's got tours. He's more of a, hard to say, I would call him country, but country is a very diverse genre these days. And basically, I'm going to wrap up this podcast by, or this live stream, whatever you want to call it, by talking about my goals for this year and talk about positive things that I am looking forward to. Um, First thing, my goal this year is basically save up for my brother's wedding and my buddy's wedding that is in Italy. Um, Not an easy travel, but I've been to Italy before. It's a good time, good place. And if you want to support, like and subscribe. Um, I don't know. I've been on the flip flop of putting my Venmo or something out there to ask for donations, but I'm just sticking to 50-hour weeks. Waking up at 2, getting off at 1:30. Um, yeah, and I just another shout out is Factor Meals. I just started those 2 weeks ago, and it has been life changing. I am a bigger dude, little fluffy guy, and portion control was a lot of my issue. But you can pick your meals on there. They have really good food. I can't say enough. I mean, some of their stuff I've tried, and I'm like, that probably just isn't for me. Um, it's not cheap. I mean, I get 30 meals for about $330, and I only eat twice a day. Um, but if you're looking to lose weight and you have the means, I highly suggest uh, going that route. It's a really good one. Um, and also just staying persistent with your meal plans, your exercise. I mean, my exercise isn't much. I walk for about an hour a day. I'm pretty gassed after work. Big morning person. And, find what's right for you when it comes to getting fit, feeling healthy. I'm big on the clothes I wear, the things I intake, or I'm not a big style guy. I'm more of a big, everything I have has a function and a purpose. Um, Wear Carhartt clothes because they fit well. They last for a while, and they're comfortable. Vivos for my shoes because they're durable. They're really high quality. Um, Caffeine and nicotine is about the only drugs I do anymore. Um, but yeah, I just staying persistent on stuff has been a big struggle in my life, and especially with reading the word that you know I want to do it every day. I definitely take focus on Sundays and make sure to, if anything, read a line or two, look, Google, Bible verse of the day. Maybe you'll get something out of it. Um, I don't want to push it on people, but I think it's important stuff that, you know, a lot of people should look into, men, women alike. Um, Another goal of mine is to be more active. I mean, it sucks to say, but my really only activity that I do right now is golf, and that's probably coming into once a week. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and it's hard to golf during the winter, but I love it. Being outside, it's very relaxing. Um, I think there's a lot you can learn in golf being an individual sport. And I know a lot of people are just out for the drinking and the fun and all that stuff, but trying to perfect something that is impossible to perfect. I mean, even Scotty says it's an impossible task to be perfect at golf. Um, but, maybe going out for hikes a little bit more. I mean, all my time's taken up with work trying to save up for these two weddings I'm going to. But, um, you'd think, it's just two weddings, but one of them's, $1,000 plane ticket, probably another couple $1,000s in food and activities that you got to do. And then, I got my brother's wedding, which is pretty local, but you got to pay for the Airbnb and all that stuff. And it ain't cheap. I mean, it's probably the only two weddings that I've, I guess, been in or are going to be in. But very happy for my friend JT and his fiance. They've been dating for 11 years now, I think, going on, or 12. And he finally proposed, and now they're getting married. Read the Bible more. It's a big goal of mine. It's, like I said, it's a struggle. You get up every day and you're just trying to tackle a day, one day at a time. And it ain't easy. Just trying to, you know, I've asked God a lot just to give me a clear path, help me on that path. And the thing with, the Lord is your trials and tribulations are training you to get to that place, the place that you want to be. Some than others, but all I can really tell people is just keep fighting, keep waking up every day, having a positive attitude. You may hate your job, you may hate the place you're in right now, but as long as you were pushing forward, it's going to come around. And there's just kind of key foundation things that you kind of have for yourself, and it's a good mentality, being responsible, not, how would I say this, going into activities that are not good for yourself, putting yourself in not good situations, and find a purpose. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And, I'm pretty, I don't know, I'd call myself a reductionist in the fact that, the Lord has put on me that I want to be a father and I want to be a husband. And I want to have responsibility in my life instead of that's not just for myself. And, those are two things that I can't necessarily control, but I'm trying to prepare myself every day to be able to have those things. And I think as a man, those are very important, to reproduce and to love someone and love someone unconditionally that, isn't you. It's easy to do with your friends, but I'm sure when it comes to a girlfriend or a wife, it's, they got their own life and you got to live with them. And you just got to fight through those battles and be able to communicate well with each other. I want to know, been single for a little over half a decade, but, I'm happy either way. Because every day I spend single, I learn something new about myself, and If the right woman comes along, that's great. But, you know, for the men out there, that have, girlfriends or fiancés, wives, whatever it is, life's too short, get her pregnant tonight. Kidding a little bit, but, you know, one thing we need to do as men is reproduce, be good fathers, be good husbands, cherish our loved ones, be there for them. It's, a wild road that we call life, and, I'm almost 30 now, and I spent a lot of it not doing great stuff, you know. Within the past 5 years is when I started rebuilding myself. Like, I will talk about the person I was before 25 as a completely different person. I experienced a lot of great things in life, but I've also put myself in some doggy situations, and learning to let go of myself and what I want, or what I think I need versus what the Lord has planned for me, is a big thing. So if I'm talking just to the men out there, is humble yourself and find purpose, find a path, do what you got to do. But yeah, this is my first podcast. I really wanted to get into this because, there's a lot of negativity out in the world, in the past long time. Ever since I've been alive, it seems like the negativity and everything's been just growing more and more. And the, I don't know, is it divisiveness, being divisive, um, has grown a lot in our culture. And, you know, there's one thing about learning to accept each other for what people are, and learning to live with those things. I've experienced those things recently. A person that I'm not necessarily too fond of, and learning to accept their faults and at least be able to still have a conversation with them. And, whether I'm being put offish or, whatever it may be, I think, we just got to learn to love each other, and if, you know, not push what we want in the world onto other people. Yeah, I don't know. I should probably end this stream, go back, make fun of myself for making this video, and laugh at myself, have other people laugh at me, but I'm out here trying to do it. I'm trying to expose myself to new things, have other things, hobbies to focus on, and, big thing is wanting to spread positivity and love to the world, and talk about my experiences in life, and talk about what's going on in the world that's good for the mentality, good for the soul. But I'm sure you'll learn a lot more about me when things start get going, and, I'm a couple episodes in, get the green off my ears. But one thing I want to end my episodes with is a prayer. And if you'd like to pray with me, you can. If you want to just close out the stream or video right now, go ahead. But I'm going to pray. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for, having me draw another breath. And I pray for my family. I pray for my friends, for their health and their safety. I pray that the people that maybe watch this video, it reaches them and can help them, or maybe they can relate to it a little bit. You know, maybe some of the things I talk about. Um, I'm nervous, obviously, but thank you for calming me and kind of settling in to doing this. Thank you for providing me a clear path in life, and I seek your word. We seek your word. We seek your glory. All the glory goes to you, Lord. That you would shed your grace on us and, you know, give us another day. Give us joy. And I pray for the people that listen to this, and that things move forward for them, and like good things happen for them, that they learn from maybe their mistakes or whatever it is. In your name I pray, amen. So this is episode 1, Monotone Moment with Jimmy It In. And if you can't fit it in,